Hello, this is GAMEZOMATIK and welcome back to my channel. I thought what I'd do today is a little bit of a collection video about my PlayStation 1 collection. I love the PlayStation 1. It was probably the first actual games console that I bought. I never had a SNES or a Mega Drive or anything like that. I always had kind of computers before then, but the first proper, totally dedicated games console I ever bought was the PS1. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my PS1 collection. Now, it's not a massive collection, but, you know, I've got a pile here and I've got a couple of drawers full of games. So this video may be split into a couple of parts, depending on how long I ramble on about each game. But, yeah, we'll just get cracking with it. They're in no order. They're all mixed up. Reason they're mixed up in the drawers as well is because I only recently put them in the drawers and I haven't sort of gone through them all yet and put them in any kind of order. I'm normally slightly more organised than that, but I don't put them alphabetically like some people do, but I do tend to have them like so if they're all the same part of the same franchise or whatever, I'll put them together. But at the moment they're just all mixed up, so this is going to be really random. So yeah, we'll get cracking on this pile. So the first game I've got is 007 Racing, which is kind of a really kind of good, well, it's not that good actually, it's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad James Bond game, which basically features heavily on the cars of Bond. So you've got that submarine car that Roger Moore had, and you've got the Aston Martin, and you've got the BMW that Pierce Brosnan had. And this sort of came out in the Pierce Brosnan kind of era, this game. So yeah, 007 Racing. It's not the greatest game. It's alright for a couple of hours to have a knock around with. But graphics are a bit ropey, and it's pretty tough in places as well, actually. But you know, it's got all the cars and all the gadgets on, so it's not too bad. Next up is Medal of Honor Underground. Great sequel to the original game. This is the second Medal of Honor game that was released. I love Medal of Honor. It's one of my favourite kind of franchises. I wish they'd bring it back. I thought when they brought it back a couple of years ago and it was modern, it was okay. But I still prefer the World War II era and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think they should bring back a good World War II era Medal of Honor game. Another Bond game up next, and that is Tomorrow Never Dies, which was okay. It's it sticks fairly close to the film. Graphically, it's okay. Control wise, it's okay. It's like a third person kind of action game. But yeah, it's a decent Bond game. It's not the best Bond game out there, but it's, you know, for the PS1, it's a fairly decent Bond game. It's no GoldenEye, but it's pretty good. Up next is a classic, probably one of my favourite racing games of all time, and probably one of the best ones ever made, and that's the original Gran Turismo. What can you say about the Gran Turismo? Absolutely fantastic game. Yeah, it's just an absolute classic. So, Gran Turismo. Then I have got Driver. This was one of the original. This is one of the original games I got with my PlayStation years ago. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a classic. I don't think they've ever really managed to capture the essence of this original game. I did enjoy Driver San Francisco. I thought that was a lot of fun, but it still wasn't really like this one. And graphically at the time, this was before Grand Theft Auto. And I used to love the way you could make your own movies in it and everything, and sort of it's very kind of influenced by Bullet and them kind of movies, those 70s sort of driving car movies. It's a great game. Not as good, but still pretty okay, is Driver 2. Sort of the direct sequel. I think this took place in 4 different cities. It says on the back, yeah, 4 different cities. And you could actually, I think you could actually get out and walk around in this one as well. So yeah, Driver 2. Up next, Gran Turismo 2. Just as good as Gran Turismo 1. Actually, even better. It just took everything that Gran Turismo 1 had and built on it and made it better. And yeah, just a fantastic driving game. Like I said, I'm not going to go too much into detail over every game because I'll be here all day. Now I did a video a couple of weeks ago about fighting fantasy books, and not only one of the original books had a game made out of it, and that was Deathtrap Dungeon, and here it is. Now this is seriously ropey, this game. I mean, the graphics on it are very, they're quite dated, and the controls are hell, but I just love this game. Because of its source material, and because it was made by Eidos, who made the original Tomb Raider, and Eidos was actually owned or ran at the time by Ian Livingstone, who wrote Deathtrap Dungeon. So you can see how it's all interlinked. So yeah, this is I love. I mean, I've just got really kind of a soft spot for this game. Yeah, and the dungeon in it is actually really good. So it's actually very true to its source material. But yeah, it's a tough game, but the graphics and controls are terrible in it. Up next, sort of your substandard kind of driving game. A lot of these games came out on the PS1, and I used to love them back in the day. That's Formula 1 Championship. This wasn't one of the better ones, but it was okay. This is Season 2000. This is a game I only picked up recently. It was like 12p. I haven't even taken the sticker off it yet, so I have to forgive. It's got a big sticker on the front of it. And that is Europe Racer. It's part of the, I think there's been a London Racer and some other games. This is pretty crap, but like I said, it was something like 29p in cash converters or something, so I picked it up. This came in a bundle of games that I got. I think it came with the Formula 1 games. What it was is I actually bought a PS1 system in a bundle. I think it was off Gumtree or something, and it came with a load of crap games, but I bought it for like one particular game, or I bought it for a reason. But these games came with it, and this is one of the games that came with it, and that is Nascar 2000. I've got to be honest, I've never played this. It's kind of been sat in the drawer since I got it, and I've never played it. I don't know anything about Nascar other than you drive around in a big circle. Sorry if I've offended any NASCAR fans out there. It just doesn't really hold much interest for me, but it's probably pretty worthless, this game, so it's not worth getting rid of. So I've just kept hold of it. Another Bond game, and we have The World Is Not Enough. Now this is pretty good, this game. This is more along the lines of GoldenEye. It's all first person. Graphics are really actually quite decent in it for a PS1 game, and the controls are pretty decent as well. So this is a lot of fun, and I prefer this to The World Is Not Enough. It's a much better game. This is another game I picked up for like 50p somewhere, and I haven't really played too much of it. It's called C12 Final Resistance. Don't really know too much about it, other than it's like a third person kind of actiony alien thingy in space. I don't know too much about it. It's one of them I kind of got and put on for about 5 minutes and haven't played it since, but it's one I keep meaning to go back to. I don't think the reviews for it were that amazing or anything, but you know, it was in really good condition. It was like 50p or something, so I picked it up. Oh, now this one is one of my favourite games ever on any system, but I especially love this version. And when I got this originally, I just played it and played it and played it for months on end, and that is Syndicate Wars. Absolutely fantastic game. It's kind of a strategy game, but it works really well on the PS1. This is a really good copy of it as well. It's really good nick. Yeah, just a really good game. Obviously developed by Bullfrog, who made Dungeon Keeper and all them classic games. So yeah, brilliant game. If you are sort of collecting for the PS1, this is definitely one of the kind of must-have games for it, I'd say. Another racing game that was in that pack that I talked about before. This one's pretty decent. I remember having a go on this when I got the pack and kind of getting into it. Anyone who was around in the 90s will remember Max Power magazine, sort of car magazine along the lines of Top Gear and all that. You know, it was all, boys with sort of street cars and all that kind of thing, and modding cars. And of course, I've got the Max Power racing game, which came out. And this is a decent racing game. Yeah, if you can pick this up pretty cheap, you know, it's worth having a go on. It's not amazing, but, you know, it's got plenty of cars in it. Some pretty cool tracks. And, yeah, it's not too bad. Up next is another great game, and that is Dino Crisis. This is made by the same people who made kind of Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2, Capcom. And it's a very similar game, except if you sort of take out the zombies and put in dinosaurs, you kind of sent to this remote island. And there's kind of been like a dinosaur Jurassic Park kind of breakout, and you've got to control it. It's not quite as good as Resident Evil, but it's still really good. And it's really tough, this game. I think I've played this several times over the years. I've still yet to get to the end of it. I don't know what. I just find it a really hard game. I am after the sequel to this game, Dino Crisis 2. It's not that hard to get hold of. I just haven't really. I'm sort of waiting to see if I can pick it up in a charity shop or something. I could just get it off eBay, and it's only about £6-7. But you know, yeah, great game, really good game. Another driving game that came in that infamous driving bundle again. There's another Formula 1 game, Formula 1 2001. Not much to say, it's Formula 1. And another one that came in the same bundle again, which is Formula 1 98. So if you like your Formula 1 games, come round to my house because I'm looking loads of them. So next we've got another driving game, funnily enough, and that is TOCA, Touring Car Championship. This is the first one. I used to love the touring car games. I'm not like a touring car fan. I don't watch it on TV or anything, but I used to really love playing the games, and this is the original Codemasters one on the PS1. Really good underrated film franchise game now, and that is Alien Resurrection. Now, this game is really, really fucking hard, but it's really good. It's a really good looking game as well for the system. This is a first person Aliens game, and I'd say this is probably nearer to Alien, say the new one, Alien Isolation, than any of the other Aliens games. It's not the best Aliens game out there. I'd say Alien Isolation is the best one, and maybe Alien v Predator 2 is the second best one. But this is a this is the best, one of the best ones on one of the old systems, and graphically it's really good, and it's much underrated. The only thing I don't like about this game is it's really tough, and when you die, you've kind of got to go back to the beginning again. So it's quite a steep learning curve on it, but it's definitely a game worth picking up. And the game is much better than the film. So I'm going to go on to the boxes now. Where to start? So we have a couple of Command and Conquer games. We have got Command and Conquer Retaliation. I used to love the Command and Conquer games. Was a big fan of them. Love strategy games. So yeah, I was a big fan of these games. This was like an add-on, I think, or not so much an add-on because you can play it on its own right. It's kind of a sequel to the original Command and Conquer game. We've got Red Alert. I was never a big fan of Red Alert. It was okay. Again, it's the same sort of gameplay as Command and Conquer. The universe to me was just a little bit too silly and a little bit kind of, I don't know. But again, this was pretty cheap. I think this was like £1 I picked it up for. It is one of the classics label, but it's in really good nick. So get some of the other games out. I've got this was in the bundle with all the driving games, believe it or not, that I bought, and that is Railroad Tycoon 2. I did put this on and I tried to have a go, and I couldn't get my head around the menus on it. So this is one I've got to go back to and have another go at. But you know, like I said, it was in that bundle of games I got, so it didn't really cost me that much. Brilliant game next, and that is Siphon Filter. One of the best franchises on the PlayStation 1, if you can find. I'm after the other two games. I've got Siphon Filter, this is the original one, the first one. Unfortunately, the case is a bit broken on this one, but it is complete. So it's on my list of games to get is 2 and 3. I've got all the PS2 Siphon Filter games, and I've got the PSP ones. Like I said, I used to love Siphon Filter back in the day. This is a really, really good game worth playing, and I'll have to try and track down the other two parts of it. Next we have Jimmy White's Cueball. Jimmy White's 2 Cueball. This is a game I used to play a lot on the PC back in the day. I never had it on PlayStation 1, but I saw it on PlayStation 1 really cheap at a car boot and picked it up. Yeah, it's really, really good, solid kind of pool stroke snooker game. Really tough though. And it's probably slightly... I always thought this game cheated a little bit. Because like, you'd just be winning and then you'd lose at the last minute. But definitely worth a look. So dig a bit deeper into the box. Got this in a charity shop for about 20p. And it's a pretty basic sort of retro... sort of side on kind of retro... super drop zone, and it's one of them where it's a bit where you've got to like sort of land the ship on the planet and shoot aliens. It's okay, nothing amazing, but it's okay, and it was in good nick, and it was really, really cheap. Then I've got I love these games. I'll have to show you these games because I absolutely love these games. We have got, this is one of my favourite PS1 games again from back in the day, one of the original games I had, and that is Colony Wars. Really great space simulator. Really strong story, really good story to it. You go up on this ship, loads of dogfighting in space, a lot of fun, and there's loads and loads of missions on this. It actually comes on 2 discs. It's complete in really good condition. Love Colony Wars. This is probably one of the must-have games, I'd say. If you collect them for the PS1, got to get Colony Wars. And of course there were a couple of sequels to Colony Wars which I've also got. So I've got Colony Wars Vengence. Again, they're all pretty much the same. Dogfight in space, things like that. This one had some levels, I believe. Yeah, this one had some levels on sort of the planet's surface as well, where you're flying around over land, which made it really cool. So that's Colony Wars Vengeance. And then there was Colony Wars Red Sun as well, which is the third one, which I've not actually played yet. I'm sort of still trying to battle my way through the original Colony Wars. I wanted to play them in order. So I played a bit of the 1 and 2, but I never had this one back in the day, to be honest. And I bought it recently, and I've still yet to have a go on it. So, but I imagine if it's anything like the other two, it'd be pretty good. Another great driving game I've got here, and that is Colin McRae Rally 2. Love the Colin McRae games. Fantastic. Love rally driving games. And this is one of the best ones. Talking about driving games, another classic we have got is Ridge Racer Type 4. Love a bit of Ridge Racer. I've got the original one somewhere, which I'll probably get out in a minute. But yeah, what can you say? Good arcade racer. So probably my favourite PS2 game of all time now. I might as well get out of the way now because I just picked it up out the pile. And that is Resident Evil 2. The best, in my opinion, Resident Evil. A lot of people say the first one was the best one. Some people think number 4 was the best one. For me, it's got to be Resi 2, the best one. Absolutely love this game. I made up to have a copy of it. I haven't actually got a copy of Resident Evil 1. It's not hard to get hold of. I just haven't got around to picking one up. And I will do at some point. And also trying to get a copy of Nemesis, which actually goes for quite a bit now, Nemesis. The reason I haven't picked up Nemesis yet is because just how much it goes for. I think it goes for about 20 quid or something ridiculous like that. And I'm not paying 20 quid for it. So, yeah. Resident Evil 2. This one's a terrible game, but it was really cheap. It was in a charity shop again. I think it was £1. Simpsons Backyard Wrestling. Absolutely fucking dreadful game. Controls are terrible. Graphics aren't that bad. They're pretty representative of The Simpsons. But the controls just don't work. It's broken. The game just doesn't work. So, but you know, it was a quid. It looks nice out on the shelf. Or in the drawer. Another big pile of games out here. So we've got Star Wars The Phantom Menace. Now I love this game. It's crap. I mean, it's not a great game. It's over and above. The graphics are dodgy, the controls are iffy, but I don't know. I just got it when it came out. I think originally I had it on PC on the big box, and I liked it at the time. And it's more of a nostalgia thing, this game. It's not the greatest Star Wars game in the world, But, you know, I've just had fond memories of playing it at the time when the original film came out and everything was Star Wars-y, a bit like it is again now. And I just had a lot of fun playing it. And it's still better than a new Battlefront game. So, Incredible Crisis. This is a this is a weird game. You basically play this guy here, and it's basically a bunch of mini games. And he basically just having a really bad day, this guy, and every sort of bad thing that happens to him in the day is a different mini game. So one of them's there's like a rhythm type of game on it. You've got to press buttons in time. There's all different. It's hard to explain. Just look it up on YouTube. Look up some gameplay. This is a weird game, but it's a good game to have in your collection, and it's quite collectible as well now. Incredible Crisis. And of course, we've got some Duke Nukem. So we got Duke Nukem, the original Duke Nukem, which is good to have in your collection. And Duke Nukem Time to Kill. This is really good. This is like a third pair. This is like Duke Nukem does Tomb Raider. And it's actually, I thought it'd be awful, but it's not. It's pretty good. So, yeah. There's also another one, Duke Nukem something Bays or something. But, yeah, I haven't got that one. So, fighting game, a bit like Tekken. Kensei Sacred Fist. If you like your fighting games, this is fairly decent. This is really one of the really old, original kind of PlayStation sort of PS1 fighting games. It's still got its original £30 tag on it, new, and it's a really good nick. I think this was bought. I think this got this at a car boot for like 20p or something. But it's obviously been bought, and someone hasn't liked it and threw it in the cupboard and never played it because it was absolutely mint condition when I got it. Yeah, but it's a decent fighting game, really kind of old style fighting game. So, yeah, Kensei. I prefer Tekken 2. I'm not really heavily into fighting games, and the only one I ever really got into was Tekken 2. So, Army Men Air Attack. If you played in Nuclear Strike games or Soviet Strike games or any of them, this is sort of their take on it. This is actually pretty good. You flying around this helicopter, taking out bases, picking up stuff, rescuing people. It's pretty good. It's one of the better Army Men games. Army Men 3D, the original Army Men game. Graphically, it's not great. It's dated a lot, but you know, I don't know. I've got a bit of a soft spot for the Army Men games. I quite like them. Some of them are good. Some of them are better than others. But this is a fairly decent one. Rainbow Six. This is one of the worst ports of any game that I've ever seen. It's dreadful. If you're ever going to play Rainbow Six, don't get this. Buy it on the PC. I think you can get it on Good Old Games and Steam, the original games, or some of the older games anyway. Just don't buy the PS1 version because it's awful. It looks terrible. And it's got this thing in it, you know, where the up and down's inverted, so up's down and down is up, and you can't change it, and it makes the game almost impossible to play. So it's the worst version of that game. Got this in a bundle with some other games. I'm not really into football games. This is football, although I do remember when I actually had to go with this, it not being that bad. So, Crypt Killer, which is a light gun game that does not work with my light gun. I've got the original, the proper G-Con, and believe it or not, it does not work with that gun. It only works with this gun, the Hyper Blaster Predator Enforcer, you can use a controller to play it, but it kind of sucks. It's a bit of a crap game anyway. It's a light gun shooter game, but graphically it's not the greatest game. But I was given a bunch of PS1 games, and this was in it. So we got Toka Touring Cars 2. This is a sequel to the game I showed before. This is a really good one. This is one of my favourite ones. Originally, I had this on the PlayStation, on the PC. Sorry, absolutely loved it. It's probably one of my favourite games of all time. I didn't actually know it had come out on the PlayStation 1 because I bought it on PC at the time, and then I saw it a couple of years ago, so I picked it up. And and obviously it's just a lot easier just to put it in and piss it. It's hard. I think it's pretty hard to get working now on the PC, whereas this one you can just put the disc in. So yeah, Toka. And that was in my top 10 driving games. And probably what I consider to be one of my favourite football games of all time, even though I'm not into the original Actua Soccer. This is a game I used to hammer when I got my PlayStation. I think FIFA was out at the time, but I always preferred Actua Soccer. Obviously, things have moved on a lot now, and Actua Soccer's not around anymore. But at the time, this was definitely my football game of choice. And this is the club edition, so this actually had all the proper clubs on it as well. I think the original one didn't. It was kind of just sort of, like the Merseyside Reds or whatever you called them, I don't know. But this actually had the proper team names on and the proper players. So, yeah. Moving on, we have got Mission Impossible. Now, this is a good game if you get it on the right console. This is not the best version of this game. This game came out on the N64, and it's much better on the N64, I believe. But I never had it. I never actually had an N64, so but I did always want to play this game, so I picked it up on the PS1. No Fear Downhill mountain biking. Not into mountain biking or anything, but this is a really, really, really good mountain biking game. It actually reminds me a lot of Colin McRae, except on a mountain bike. Graphically it's very similar, and the environments are very similar, and the controls are really good on it. And it's quite a tough game, but it's a lot of fun as well. And it's one of those games you don't think you're gonna like, but when I actually played it, I enjoyed it quite a lot. So. Got Top Gun, Fire at Will. Just what you'd expect a Top Gun game to be. Sort of a really solid kind of combat flight simulator. What I like about this, it's got live action cutscenes in it, with the proper actors and everything, like they used to have a lot in the 90s. Which is really cool, really cheesy acting and everything. So yeah, pretty good. And we've got Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare. I did pick this up. I did have it on PC, I think, originally. But I couldn't get it working recently on PC when I bought it, even though it was on Steam. I wanted to play it with a controller, and I couldn't get it working with a controller. So I picked this up. And then I realised it also came out on PS2, so I got the PS2 version. But this isn't bad. I mean, they're all sorts of pre-rendered backgrounds anyway, so there's not actually that much difference graphically between this and the PS2 version. The PS2 version looks slightly sharper, I'd say. It's just the models in it are better on the PS2 version. But yeah, it's if you can't get hold of the PS2 version, you want to have a quick play on it, it's definitely worth playing the PS1 version, and it's a great game as well. Next up, we've got The Italian Job. This is pretty tough. I couldn't really get into this game. I found it a little bit too hard, to be honest. I think I played the first mission and just kept on getting killed or not doing it, so I just sacked it off. But yeah, The Italian Job. Wasn't a big fan of the films either. Oh, sorry. Spec Ops Stealth Patrol. Used to love the Spec Ops games originally on the PC, so I picked these up. These are really tough, actually. This is kind of one shot you're dead kind of gameplay. So, you've got to be really kind of careful what you do when you're playing these games. I love this game. Tunnel B1. Now, this is not a great copy. It's got a marker on it, but I need to get another case for this. I always pick this game up and everyone hates it. And it's a really boring premise where you're just going along these tunnels shooting sort of guns, and then you've got to you find your way through the map, and then you move on to the next map. But I don't know, I just used to love this game, and it's really tough, but I just had a lot of fun with it. So all I can say is play it. It's a fun game to play. The original Rayman, great, really good platformer, great sort of art style, really, really, really fucking hard though. So yeah, Rayman. We have got What else have we got here? We got music, which was like a music generation game, and this is good for a laugh actually, especially if you want to throw back to all that kind of 90s, dodgy 90s kind of dance music. You can kind of make your own tracks, and it's got all the kind of the women wailing and samples of all that kind of you know, kind of cheesy kind of 90s dance, but you know, it's good for a play around on, and it's nice to have something a little bit different as well, and you can kind of make your own music from all the different samples. So yeah. What can I say about this game? G Police, love this game. I've actually got this on PC as well, but you can't run it now on a PC. It only worked on certain older cards, something, which is why I picked it up on the PlayStation. One of the hardest games you will ever play, but one of the most rewarding as well. Graphically, really ahead of its time. Great game. It reminds me a little bit of Colony Wars. It was around the same time they both came out. But yeah, I'm actually halfway through a playthrough of this game. I've got stuck on it. But yeah, it's a really good game. Again, if you're collecting for the PS1, this is one of the must-have games. Rainbow Six Lone Wolf. Now this is actually better than the other Rainbow Six game because they sorted the controls out on it, but it's not better in the sense of you can get through the whole game in about 45 minutes. There's only about four or five levels on it, and yeah, it's just extremely short. It's okay, but you know, I wouldn't pay more than about £2 for it. Now, the X-Files. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a massive X-Files fan. And I did have this on the PC, but I saw it at a games convention that I went to for sale a couple of months ago, and I've been after it on the PlayStation, so I picked it up, and that's the original X-Files game. I'm a massive X-Files fan. I can't wait for the new season to start in January, the new ones to come out. I'm made up that it's coming back. I just hope they don't make a mess of it. But yeah, the X-Files, this is really good. This is kind of an interactive episode of the X-Files, and it's all live motion, you know, film, full motion film. The only thing I will say that's bad about this game is the story premise of this game is basically Mulder and Scully have gone missing and you've got to find them. So Mulder and Scully are like hardly in the game. They are in it. They're in at the beginning. I think they come into it quite a bit at the end, but generally, most of the game they're not actually in it, but a lot of the other characters are in it. So yeah, it's still a really good game and kind of old school kind of point and click. So I like that, and it comes on like 4 discs as well. It's absolutely massive. So yeah, really nice set if you can find it. And it's really cheap as well. So I've got the original 2-disc version, Command and Conquer. Again, one of the best strategy games probably that I've ever played. I still put this on sometimes and play it. It's such good fun to play. They've fiddled around with it over the years and tried different things, but to me the original is still the best one. Apart from the save system, this game does not support memory cards. It's one of those password systems, you've got to write it down and reload the level. These two games are pretty kind of cult classics now. Pretty much, they're not hard to get hold of, but you know, pretty sought after. These are tough games, but these are graphically brilliant games. The art style on them, the story on them is fantastic, but they are really, really tough games. And that is Fear Effect and Fear Effect 2. So there's Fear Effect. As you can see, the art style, it's kind of a cel shaded. These are like animation, these games. Even now when you put them in, they look great. They look like proper kind of animation game, you know, like a proper animation that you're watching, but you're playing along with it as well. And the characters are great, and it's got these 2 great lead characters as well, these 2 women. So yeah, they're really great games. They're quite collectible now. The first one's pretty easy to get hold of, that one, but this one's getting a lot harder to get hold of, especially in good condition. It's one of the few PS2 games that I actually probably paid quite a bit for. I think I paid like £12 or something for it because I wanted it. Which sounds a lot for an old PS1 game, but most people these days are willing to go out and spend £49 on a PS4 game. and you're probably just going to get as much gameplay, if not more, out of this. You know, I'd rather spend £12 on this than £50 on Star Wars Battlefront and get, what, 20 minutes, 2 or 3 days gameplay out of it. This will last you a couple of weeks. It's rock hard. So, yeah, really good games, yeah. And the last one in this box, one of my favourite games, what I always call the original Bloodborne, Nightmare Creatures. There's a sequel to this, Nightmare Creatures 2, and it goes for a bomb if you can find it on PlayStation 1. You can get it on the Dreamcast as well, the sequel. It's a little bit cheaper on the Dreamcast, but because I've got the original on PlayStation 1, I'm sort of after the sequel on PlayStation 1, and it goes for about £25, I think, upwards, because it had a very limited release in PAL regions on the PS1. So yeah, I'm definitely after the sequel to this, but this is a great game, Nightmare Creatures. So that's part 1 of my PlayStation 1 collection. Please click like and subscribe if you like the video, and I shall be back soon with part 2 of my PS1 collection. Thanks for watching.